So before this video starts, I would like to apologize for this video being 5 weeks late. I have intended to push it forward way earlier, but the video kept getting delayed. I guess I should go over a few things I missed out on while I was working on this video. So Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is officially out and has a 9 out of 10 on stream. For some reason, the game was getting a lot of unnecessary hate around its release. That's because the game was buggy as shit at the time. Not only that, but the boss fights weren't that interesting. And I don't like using this word much, but they're kinda boring. Yet, hate to say it, the game also doesn't perform the best, but it's not terrible. Unlike the Jujutsu Kaisen game that released on the same day. Yet, this is terrible. It lacks creative ideas that make it stand out from any other fighting game. Not only that, but its curse power is way too low. Simply put, it has all the components it needs to be a great fighting game, but it lacks in its presentation. Also, since the album came out, Cole Bennett shot music videos for Equilibrium by Babytron and Yerbo, This My Life by Lil Tecca, The Kid Laroi and Lil Skies, and Fly Away by Sheck Wes, Ski Mask the Slump God and JID. Definitely tuning in for the Fly Away music video. Might skip the This My Life one. Speaking of music videos, The Weeknd, surprisingly, dropped one for his song Popular with Madonna and Playboi Carti. The song dropped on the 7th of July, 2023, but is just now getting a music video. And in this, we see Abel dancing in a fancy-ass luxury mansion while Carti, surprisingly, makes the video shoot and pulls over on the side of the road to record his portions. At least we got some form of video footage of him than none at all. And I'm not really complaining here. I need more Carti in me. I need him inside me. Pause. And resume. Yeet dropped a new album called 2093, which pushed the limitations of rap forward in the sense that there's no limit to what you can create. This album only has 2 features, Lil Wayne and Future. Good enough for me. I don't like it when artists overload their albums with features and not try to make themselves stand out in any unique way, shape or form. It's like they want the features to be remembered more than them. Quadeca dropped Scrapyard, an album full of his greatest songs yet. Only features on that project are Brackens and Kevin Abstract of Brockhampton Fan. And that's all it really needed, to be honest. Jason Derulo dropped a new album called New King, which is a very bloated pop album with your standard and typical features like Young Boy Never Broke Again, Quavo, Guxy Mane, Nicki Minaj and Ty Dolla $ign, along with a few surprises like Dido. But overall, it's not the best of what its genre has to offer. Kid Cudi dropped Insano Nitro Mega, in which he claimed that it wasn't a deluxe edition of the original Insano. It's worse than the original actually, and one of the songs off of this album will be ending up in the worst songs of 2024 video that I'll make near the end of the year. Just wait until then and you'll see what song it is. French Montana not only dropped Mac and Cheese 5, but he dropped a fucking virus on streaming services. You mean to tell that you dropped 5 other versions of each track on the album and combined them all into a 126 track long album that takes 6 hours and 3 minutes to complete? Oh hell nah. I ain't listening to all that. And if you thought that was bad enough, then oh boy, look at his singles. It gets worse. He released all 126 of those songs as singles. And it clutters up not only his page but other artists' pages. And it gets even fucking worse. He made a sped up, slowed down, a cappella and instrumental version of a skit. A skit? You're better than this, French Montana. Come on. Actually, you know what? I take back that statement. He's not better than this because his music is definitely not showing any signs of it. And where's the features only version? That's the only version of the album we wanna hear. Not these bullshit versions you put out on streaming. Yeet is apparently charging $5 for 4 new songs for his Phase 3 of 2093, and like any delusional rap fan would, people are gonna purchase it. Because they dick ride him so hard that they gotta buy everything affiliated with him and his brand to be just like them. But they'll never be like Noah Oliver Smith. Yes, that's his real name, by the way. Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign dropped a new album called Vultures 1, which featured YG, Nipsey Hussle, Lil Durk, Bump J, Playboi Carti, Rich the Kid, Travis Scott, Chris Brown, Northwest, India Love, Quavo and Freddie Gibbs. Pretty stacked feature list. I'm gonna give the album the same score as this one when I review it. No spoilers there. You're probably wondering what the score of this album is gonna be. Well, let's get into it right now. In 3, 2, 1, and action. Hey guys, Marquis here. So the Lyrical Lemonade album All Is Yellow finally dropped after being in the works for about a year or so. It was first announced in the Lyrical Lemonade short film Why Rush when a yellow curtain was shown for the first time. And then we got our first single for it on the 23rd of June, 2023. And then 4 more would be released until the album actually dropped. So now that the album has dropped, let's check it out and see if it's as good as we were hoping it to be. Track 1, Fly Away, featuring Sheck Wes, Ski Mask the Slump God, and JID. When it came to this feature lineup, I was expecting this to be some straight out heat. I mean, think about it. The energy's already there with Sheck Wes. Ski Mask the Slump God is gonna bring life to the track with his verse, and JID is going to bring some really unique flows to this track. So this was already lining up to be a great song. Then I clicked play and everything I already predicted about the song came true. Well, except for the fact that it sounded more anthemic than I was expecting it to. I mean shit. This is starting to sound like a movie trailer with this type of beat. Not in the cringy NF way though. Not in the theater kid trying too hard to be original aka lyrical spiritual way. Fuck NF. But anyways, Sheck Wes then comes in on the chorus and sets the tone. It's a shame that he couldn't be utilized for more than the chorus, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Sheck Wes features are very rare to come by nowadays. And when you do get one, be ready for it. At least we actually got one from him this time around. Looking at you, Travis. Ski Mask then comes in with a dope ass verse where he starts it off by saying that this shit is easy for him in the same way that it was easy for Thomas Edison to steal the idea of the light bulb. So what? You thought he actually created it? You dumbus. There's a lot they don't teach you in school. I mean shit. I know more about slavery than your average history teacher would know. And I'm a guy who used to make 1-minute reviews all the time. He then has some other fire bars like how his diamonds are so flooded that you would think that they're fake. How he's a veteran of the rap name despite lying about that album he was supposed to drop for 4 years and counting. Bro lies more than Carti. I'm sorry. I love you, Ski Mask, but please drop something. He also has that fire-ass bar about the people copying him being clones like Mr. Meeseeks is. Now I know that I have mostly a male audience, so obviously they would know what Rick and Morty is. If you don't, then it's like Back to the Future except if Doc Brown was an alcoholic and took Marty to his missions every single day without a break. And there's this one character named Mr. Meeseeks that can clone himself, as we see in the 5th episode of the Adult Swim show's first season. Jerry first spawns him in when he realizes that there's some tasks that he just can't do all at once. So it starts by him spawning a Mr. Meeseeks in order to help him win a gold tournament. It then gets out of hand when he spawns too much of them and they start killing each other. Ski Mask compares the amount in which they can clone themselves to the amount of rappers that have made a name for themselves since Stocky Lee dropped, mimicking his exact style down to the point where it feels like these rappers are trying to steal his identity. Like SpongeBob in that one episode where he didn't know who he was anymore. Don't let that happen to you. Anyways, that's a cool way that he decided to call these clones out. He also compares himself to the Roadrunner from Looney Tunes. If you don't know who that is, then Roadrunner is a fast ass nigga who outruns Wile E. Coyote every single time he's on screen. He compares his flow to the speed of him basically. He then says that his crew is geeked, which is slang for being high. There's plenty of other slang you can use to say that you're high, but this one's the most simple to use. It's also the one that EDG tried to run into the fucking ground with in 2023. Never let that man touch a microphone ever again. But anyways, he compares that to the Geek Squad at Best Buy who can assist you with any technology issue you have. I like to shop at Best Buy a lot because they give me great deals on all the shit I want. I repeat, this video is not sponsored by Best Buy. I just wanted to shout them out. But anyways, cool bar. He then says how he's plugged in like one of those MIDI electronic musical instruments or computers. He then compares the 2 other people that he's on the song with to the Suicide Squad. Basically a group of anti-heroes who formed together to take down the actual heroes running the city. There's actually a game about them taking down the Justice League that is supposed to come out next month. So stay tuned for that. He then ends the verse by talking about how committed he is to rap and how he's about to change the world when he drops. quote unquote when, because this nigga hasn't told us anything about when the album's supposed to drop. So I guess it's a wait and see situation. Can't wait to listen to this when I turn 64. Just kidding. But let's get serious for a moment, because now comes JID's verse. He killed it on this song and is the main reason I come back to it so often. And his flow is, his flow is heat. The way he does that back up is so clean. Definitely will be remembered as one of the best feature artists of the decade when it goes out. And don't sleep on this man's features. He always be bringing something special to the table. So look out for him. Especially because he's set to drop an album with Metro Boomin this year. So yeah, overall, great way to kick off the album. With energy. Track 2, Guitar in My Room. Featuring Lil Durk and Kid Cudi. Is it just me, or does anyone else have Lil Durk fatigue? You know, hearing him making the same type of song time and time again. I really didn't mind it 7,220. But on Almost Healed, I started to get tired of it. Not that I think that Durk's incapable of making something good, no. It's just that he hasn't really been proving himself lately. Like on this song he sounds extremely whiny. Like he's talking about how he's trying to prove himself to be the next big star, but I could personally care less because of how he performs those lines. The song does get slightly better when Kid Cudi comes in though, with bars about how he became a star. He also references the Man on the Moon trilogy by saying that he's not from this world and that he's an alien because he comes from the moon. He also talks about how he's gonna give her that A1 sauce in reference to how saucy he is. And those were the only interesting parts about the song. The rest of it is really boring though. Track 3, Say Your Grace. Featuring Chief Keef and Lil Yachty. On this song, Cole managed to make Chief Keef do the impossible. Go back to his old sound. Now let me explain. This beat sounds like one of those old 2012 Young Shop beats you used to hear him rap over on every song. It's calling back to the drill sound he was known for pioneering. And thank God for that. We got a banger out of this one. Chief Keef comes in with this energy, and even his classic The Beat Went Off that was first heard on his song earned it. He's talking about how he got them killers on the way and that you better say grace before you eat. Usually a religious practice where people thank God for creating the food they are about to eat. It's actually a pretty common practice in most places across the world except for Muslim and Jewish countries. He delivers these bars while moving in front of a big yellow tent that Yachty is in when it comes to the music video. There are even shots of them inside the tent with cameos from Big Sean, Denzel Curry and Yerbo. Now see, the interesting thing about the Big Sean cameo is that he was supposed to be on a bonus track for this album, but then Cole confirmed that his feature was supposed to be on someone else's album. And while we talk about other artists that were cut from the album, it's funny that I mentioned Jewish countries because BLP Kosher was supposed to be on this album alongside Lucky. However, Lucky couldn't get his verse in on time and BLP Kosher just simply didn't make the cut. There was also V's in which Cole Bennett said that they are working on something different, and there was Trippie Redd as well. He declined to be on the album though, but is still working with Cole on something else though. Anyways, now that I mentioned all the features that didn't make it, let's talk about a feature that did make it and shift our focus to Yachty. No, this isn't their first collaboration together. That was actually on 2017's Come On Now, which was a single on his album Dedication, which also featured a Boogie with Da Hoodie. Yes, this is the first time that they've been in a music video together. In the music video, Yachty recreates a shot from the music video Strike. I thought that was pretty cool considering that I really liked that single, but went with the Black Seminole over that song for my best songs list because I just had to. Also, it's partially blocked. Here are the countries it can't be watched in. One in particular shouldn't surprise you. Anyways, he has a really energetic performance on here. Not as energetic as Sosa's, but obviously. He also disses Bruce Drop M off, an irrelevant streamer who was beefing with him. He claimed that he was reaching a lot. And mind you, this is the same Bruce that dick rides Lucky and made that joke about most regular people not being able to name 5 DDG songs. If you don't know what clip I'm talking about, then it's this one.
Gun to the back of your head, name 5 DDG songs.
Big Sean then makes an appearance in ad-lib form. And of course, it's his most famous ad-lib that goes boy. And that's his only contribution to the song. As for his short verse, Chief Keef says that he's a boss like Terry Crews. And that's the end to a pretty enjoyable song. It was definitely made a highlight by Chief Keef alone. Plus the music video was fun as well. Track 4. This My Life. Featuring Lil Tecca, The Kid Leroy, and Lil Skies. This My Life takes a more melodic approach as we get this piano-driven beat where Lil Tecca talks about how it's his life and that he's the only one that's in control of it. He then does a verse about how he can show you why he's mad. Then Leroy's verse talks about his issues with other women. This is coming off of him making an album named The First Time and addressing everything there. It wasn't necessarily his worst album, but there are far better in his discography. Then we get to the verse by Lil Skies. And I don't know why, but something sounded off with his performance. He sounded sick or something, like he just caught the C word. Oh god, 2021 flashbacks are coming back in. But regardless of that, this song's pretty standard for what you would expect when it comes to the featured artists. And for that, it's decent. Nothing more than that though. Track 5. First Night. Featuring Tizo Touchdown, Juicy J, Koch Eyes, Denzel Curry, and Lil B. Now this song's very interesting in terms of the variety we get from the cast of features here. We have Tizo Touchdown who usually sings, Juicy J who does this classic Memphis sound, Koch Eyes who usually makes music on rage beats, Denzel Curry who can rap on a bunch of different beats, and Lil B who isn't your average rapper. So with that being said, I didn't really know what to expect coming from this song. But I pressed play and then I soon found out what they did with these range of features. Tizo starts the song off with him singing a piano ballad about himself. Kinda seems narcissistic, but okay. Then it gets into this Memphis styled beat when Juicy J comes in. And I believe the beat interpolates black and yellow. I could be wrong, but that's my guess. After Juicy J starts this section of the song off, Koch Eyes starts rapping on it really well. He talks about how this girl that he's smashing should do it for the whole team. Denzel Curry then comes in with his verse where he talks about letting this girl hit it on the first night. Lil B then does this monologue about how sex is awesome and that you should take your time in getting to know this woman before you smash her. And that's the song. Overall it's pretty fun and teaches you a lot about having sex with women. That is, it does in a better way than sex education does. Hell, you should get me to teach that. Just saying. Track 6. Special. Featuring Latto, Swee Lee and Amine. Special is a pop rap song that has a smooth instrumental. On it, Latto talks about this man who can't make the decision of whether or not he wants to be with her, and she says how he didn't appreciate all the things that she has done for him. I mean, think about it. You're in a relationship and you don't even show this woman that you care. Or, because I have quite a few female viewers, you're in a relationship and you don't even show this man you care. How messed up does that sound? Sounds like he should get out of the relationship. She then expresses themes of how she wished she never met this man and had sex with him. She also says how this is the last time that she made a man feel special. It then goes to Amine's singing/rapping performance where he talks about how he knows this girl is special to him and how he wants to maintain his relationship with her. He also says that he plays Kanye's Bound 2 before he has sex. Bound 2 is the 10th and last song off of Yeezus, which has some very provocative lyrics to it which explain maybe a bit too much in detail. It's okay though. There's no limit to how vulgar a rapper can get. Guaranteed that it's not Sexy Red, Ice Spice, City Girls, Westside Gun or a Boogie with the Hoodie in that matter, because they can make me feel uncomfortable with how they describe sex. Especially Westside Gun. Sway Lee then comes in and passionately sings about how he's finna give it to her. So basically, the song is about sex and making the other feel special. It's a pretty neat listen. I'll give it that. Track 7. With the Fish. Featuring Snot and Six Dogs. Before we start talking about this song, let's address something about one of the featured artists on this song. So if you don't know, Six Dogs took his own life in 2020. Yeah, I'm gonna say this right now. For anyone thinking about removing themselves from the world in that way, just know that we're all in this together. We can give you the help you need. Please, get some help and get your life together. I would say see a therapist, but I don't really believe in that shit. But please, we don't want you to go out like this. Okay, depressing shit aside, let's get into the actual song. This song has a vibrant and catchy beat to it, and on it, Snot raps about his relationships with girls and how he gives back love. Sometimes Six Dogs then has a very different verse on the song where he talks about his lifestyle and gives tributes to XXXTentacion and Lil Peep, both rappers who passed away at the time of him recording this. And that's the song. Overall, it's an enjoyable listen. Also RIP Six Dogs. We miss you. Track 8, Doomsday, featuring Cordae and Juice WRLD. The moment I heard this single, I knew that it would single-handedly be the best song on this album. And was it? Of course it was. On the song, Cordae and Juice WRLD, who are both fans of Eminem, rap on the beat for his 1999 track Role Model, where they do what Eminem does best and put visual metaphors into the lyrics so that you can visualize what they're saying. Like when Cordae says I just had an ice cream sandwich. Eminem's with that being the first of many examples of these metaphors being used. Other examples include the following, in which I'll explain as we go further along. I'm the type to come in the game and just launch pain. With a bronze frame and a tattoo of my mom's name. A bronze frame is a type of photo frame that makes up the borders of the picture. And given that he has a picture of him and his mum together, it makes sense that he would tattoo her name to him because she was very special to Cordae growing up. He talks more about his mum on The Lost Boy. Go listen to that if you wanna know more about his childhood. Anyways, here's the next one. Time to take these niggas to school. LeBron James. LeBron James is a world-renowned NBA basketball player who is most famously known for playing on the Los Angeles Lakers. But it isn't just his basketball skills that left a sustaining impact. He opened the I Promise School in 2018. The Akron Public County School works to help students who are falling behind and might not graduate in time. Cordae says he's gonna take these people to school in order to educate them on himself. And here's another one. Lesson 1. I'm a bad teacher who gave the class seizures. Smash Divas. Stash reefer in the lab freezer. Playing on the theme of taking these people to school, Cordae follows that up with teaching them about his teaching style. As for giving the class seizures, he might have done that by giving them drugs. Speaking of drugs, Juice WRLD was widely known for making his music about them. So obviously he came in with some drug-related bars. I found the reefer Cordae stashed in the back of the lab. So I'm in class smoking gas, slapping the class preacher. At a young age, Juice WRLD started taking drugs, and it influenced a lot of his later music to come. The first bar Juice comes in with ties into the previous bar where Cordae stated that he stashes weed in the lab freezer. Lab freezers usually preserve the things put in them. So Juice WRLD found the stash that Cordae put in that freezer and started smoking it during class. But drug bars aside, the next bar we get from Juice is Bring the House Down on You Hoes. Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah is an American actress, rapper and singer who starred in the 2003 film Bringing Down the House. This line is also interpolated from his October 2018 song The Way I Am freestyle, where he raps over the Eminem beat from the year 2000. After that we get some more imagery of a brain getting bashed and a face being hit. Then there's this bar. I'm a tie up, just like a shoe, my flow laced. Juice WRLD here is basically saying that he puts effort into his shit like tying a shoe. And like a shoe, his flow is laced like the laces on a shoe. This is also a way of him saying that he puts effort into his flow, hence why it's laced. And the flow being laced might also have to do with lacing drugs. It's all coming back around now. Cordae then comes back in with this bar. Y'all niggas so fake. Wash your face in my showcase. Cordae says that these people are inauthentic, that they should wash their face in a place where authenticity is shown. Here Cordae says that the achievements and talent that he has outshine the others, sort of as a flex for other people to see just how good he is. And there's no denying that. He was destined to be a lyrical genius at a very young age. And his music nowadays definitely shows. After that comes this bar. Fresher than Colgate. Make hoes wait. I hold weight. Here Cordae says that his appearance is more appealing than that of a Colgate box and that hoes want him so bad because of it. He also says that he holds weight in reference to the fact that his music has actual substance. Few bars later we get this bar from him. My rent paid for 10 days cause my pen's great. Because his writing is so well done, he's able to make a lot of money off of it. So much that it can pay his rent for 10 days. Then we get this very clever bar from Juice WRLD. Funny how 2 + 2 = foreplay. If you have basic math skills like a decent human being, you would know that 2 + 2 = 4. There's also some wordplay here that suggests that he's having a threesome with 2 other women. Bet you didn't catch that one. He follows that up with, speaking of foreplay, had this shit in the hallway with a nun on Sunday. I guess I'm just too blessed. Nuns are people devoted to serving their religion. This religion is mostly Christianity in America, in which Sundays are recognized as worship days to God. Juice WRLD refers to having sex with a nun on Sunday. Both are holy, which makes him too blessed. Blessed in the fact that it's Sunday and blessed in the fact that he's having sex with a nun. After that, Corday comes in with this bar. Me and my nigga Juice WRLD taking over the universe. Corday makes a pun based off of Juice WRLD's name, which contains the word world in it. This line also makes it sound like they control the entire universe. Then after that, Cordy says, you knew it first. Got my mum Chanel with the newest purse. Birkin bag. Never heard to ask, what type of purse is that here? Corday talks about buying his mum a purse from Chanel, the one that she would have wanted. He then follows that up with, what type of purse is that? He then follows that up, something that's very fucking expensive. I deserve to brag. A Birkin bag can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $450,000. So basically it's very expensive. He then says, I deserve to brag. For most of his career, he's been flexing his assets on us. And here he says that he deserves to show off because of his infinite wealth. That is then followed up by, I murder tracks. This isn't mumble, it's murder rap. Corday murdering tracks is in reference to the fact that he'll do so good on someone else's track that it should be illegal, to the point where it can almost be called murder. Juice then addresses that they are actually making lyrical rap as opposed to that mumble rap that they were labeled as when they first blew up. That is then followed up with, type of shit your grandma understand with her old ass. Juice says that your grandma is so old that she would be able to understand this because it's so in your face. Then a few bars later, Juice says, the hair trigger Brazilian. You would get your whole hood waxed. This is a double entendre, as this could refer to a gun that fires with the slightest touch or someone that is short-tempered and easily provoked. By getting your whole hood waxed, that could be in reference to getting your hood shot up. Or it could be in reference to Brazilian wax, which involves the removal of one's hairs. Yeah, a man waxed his entire bumhole on camera and that video still has yet to get deplatformed. Although if I say something offensive then my entire video gets taken down. Because that's apparently how YouTube works now. Ugh. Anyways, on to the next bar that comes from Corday. Took the shuttle pass. Hit them all. I got double cash. Cop the duffel bag. In this bar, Cordy says that he has double the amount of cash that he usually uses to spend on luxury bags. That's what he's talking about in reference to the duffel bag. As for the next bar, Cordy says, 10 bands on my fucking ass. That's a subtle brag. Remember that bar where he said I deserve to brag? Kind of the same thing here. He deserves to shod this off because of his wealth. And he subtly does it so that it's not too obvious. After that we get this bar from him. High level, we be making moves. Hit the huddle fast. High Level is the independent record label Corday is currently signed to. He goes into detail about it on his TED Talk, which I'll link in the description of this video. In the original mix of the song, which can be heard in the music video where Corday is walking through the office and Juice WRLD keeps face merging with him, he says home team in reference to the football connotations Juice WRLD makes in this next bar. Break the huddle. Get a sack. That's a fumble on the play. Break the huddle is in reference to him gathering with the team and strategizing. Get a sack is in reference to tackling the other team's quarterback. Fumble on the play is in reference to him indicating that there's a disruption or failure for his competitors, showing that he has the ability to outperform others and make impacts in the music industry. So that's quite literally a fumble on the play. The next bar after that is, not in my house. He looked like Mutombo in the face. He continues the sports-related bars by using a basketball in reference to the basketball player Dikembe Mutombo, a legendary defensive player known for his blocking ability. After that there's this bar, leave him spinning like a funnel cloud with lightning and some thunder. Where Juice WRLD was from was often an area that contained the phenomenon known as funnel clouds. Funnel clouds are the early stages of tornadoes, which are spinning clouds of hot and cold air. They turn into tornadoes as soon as they hit the ground. Supercells can then combine funnel clouds with thunder and lightning. Now that the funnel cloud has turned into a tornado, this is the perfect setup for the next bar to come. Like the Wizard of Oz, the way we carry them away. Juice WRLD states that the way they carry them away is similar to when Dorothy's house was carried away by a tornado in the Wizard of Oz. And now that the funnel cloud has turned into a tornado, that might be what this bar is in reference to. Few bars later and we get this bar. Beef with anybody, even if you vegetarian. This is a double entendre from Juice WRLD. Having beef in rap means having an argument with another rapper in the genre. Beef is also in reference to meat in which vegetarians don't eat. So even though you might be a vegetarian, he'll still beef with you or want the smoke with you. Then we get to the last bar I wanna talk about. My flow on Ebola. Your flow just need Claritin. Here Juice WRLD says that his flow is so sick that you might need to treat it with some over-the-top medicine. This is another way of him saying that his flow is cold. In the behind the scenes of the music video, Cordy stated that this was a very ironic bar for Juice as the C-word pandemic was around the corner at the time of his death. May he rest in peace. Overall, this song contains great rapping from both and proved that they are more than just your average mumble rappers. Track 9. Doomsday Part 2. Featuring Marshall Mathers aka Eminem. While not as good as the original, Doomsday, obviously, Doomsday Part 2 still packs quite a lyrical punch. He starts the song off by saying that he's a little under the weather while proceeding to say that he's able to kill a verse, specifically if it's a feature verse. Few examples of him doing this are Friday Night Cypher by Big Sean, No Love by Lil Wayne, Drop the World by Lil Wayne, Patiently Waiting by 50 Cent, Forgot About Dre by Dr. Dre and Warning the Notorious B.I.G. He then states how easy it is for the words to come together and how he doesn't plan to quit until he starts pulling up to the studio with a walker and that he's better than all. These are the rappers for now. He then talks about how he's trying to avoid controversy and then says that he had the best verse on Forever. Well, did he? Let's rank every performance on Drake's Forever. At number 4, we have Lil Wayne. Compared to the others, pretty weak. I have heard better from Lil Wayne before, and it'll take more than that to impress me. At number 3, we have Drake. He has these iconic bars men still remember to this day. Last name ever, first name greatest. Like a sprained ankle. Boy, I ain't nothing to play with. You can't play the game with a sprained ankle. Common knowledge. And when you rearrange the two names in the first bar, it reads out greatest ever. Despite this, two other rappers outshine him on this song. At number 2, we have Kanye West. Really strong lyricism throughout. I'm impressed. But as for the number 1 spot, it goes to Eminem. So he does have the best verse on Forever. He then starts dissing Benzino and references how he was afraid of giraffes on Not Afraid. So basically, the opposite of Benzino, someone he's not afraid of, is a giraffe. Someone he's afraid of. Eminem then says how he doesn't have a neck, which is true. He then references the Benzino song I Remember with Mario Winans where he says I remember when we had to keep it on the low when he says in them cheap hotels that they catch you in. To creep on the low means to cheat on your partner. So Eminem implies here that he goes to cheap hotels just to do that with other women. Then in the bar following that, Eminem confirms what hotel Benzino is doing it in. Jesus Christ dawg. When you said 210, never guessed you meant at the Red Roof Inn. This is a quadruple entendre. Let me explain. This could be in reference to a BJ with B being the second letter of the alphabet and J being the 10th. This could also be in reference to when Benzino got caught at a hotel in Atlanta where he got escorted out of the Red Roof Inn. His room was 210. This could also be in reference to the 210 debt payment where you get a 2% discount on the amount you owe if you make a repayment within 10 days. And this could also be in reference to Benzino's height and how incredibly short he is. He then mentions his daughter Coilere and how they would never collaborate together considering that he's beefing with her father. Coilere also mentioned in an interview that out of the sake of respecting her father's wishes, she chooses not to involve herself in this beef with Eminem and Benzino. She also says that it wouldn't be the best idea for her to collaborate with Eminem despite her being a fan of his music. So that features in the toilet. The damage due to Flow's part of the next bar is continuing on with the themes of the feature being in the toilet, suggesting a leaking toilet with his delivery. He then says how his gun, in which gat is slang for, is pointed like Sandra Bullock's nose. Sandra Bullock is an American actress who has played the famous roles as Loretta Sage in The Lost City, Mallory in Bird Box, Marie in Bullet Train and Scarlet Overkill in Minions. And her nose is known for being pretty pointy. Eminem states that his nose is as well on this bar. He then says that if you choose to diss him then it'll be a fate worse than death. He also follows this up by saying you'll catch a stray like Animal Control. Plan a funeral. Catching a stray means catching a bullet, which is what Benzino had to do when his nephew shot him at his mother's funeral. Animal control also tends to catch stray animals, making this another double entendre. There was also a show based around it in 2023 and the second season has been confirmed for it. So yeah. Then the part where he says plan a few neurological exams sounds like plan a funeral, something he said in the last bar. Plan a few here also sounds like plan nephew because Benzino's nephew shot him at his mom's funeral, which we talked about already. He then references the Slim Shady LP where he was admitted into an insane asylum on the song Role Model where the beat comes from. It's also the same beat Cordae and Juice WRLD rapped on when it comes to the previous track. So that's a nice little tie-in there. He then says how his mind is twisted like his old music was when was still on the pills. Then he says you probably feel like you're gonna die, as in reference to his effects on his targets when he disses them, making them feel like they're about to die. And he ends the song off by saying that this is the third time that he has worked with Cole Bennett. He previously made music videos for him in the form of Godzilla and Nat, two songs where their names start with the letter G. Coincidence or not? He also says that he's at the same level of skill that J. Cole is at right now and that he'll be making music with Aftermath until he stops releasing it. Overall, despite its very short runtime, it packs a lot of lyricism into it, with it being able to pack a punch in under 3 minutes. And that's why Eminem is secretly a genius. Track 10, Fallout, featuring Gus Dapperton, Lil Yachty, and Joey Badass. Yeah, I don't really know. This one's kinda forgettable as well. Like I wanna like it because of Joey Badass, but the chorus by Gus is not really my thing at all. And I also wanted to like it because of Yachty's appearance, but the chorus is still not my thing. The song itself is about staying together in a chaotic world where they might face a nuclear war or apocalypse. But the way the topic is presented is so, you might think I'm hating because it's not rap, but you do know that I listen to more than rap music, right? So that argument is flawed within itself. No. The actual reason why I don't like it is because of how bland it sounds. It just sounds like it was meant to go mainstream. And that's the problem. Overall, there's nothing much to come back to on this song. Track 11, Equilibrium, featuring Babytron and Yerbo. Oh shit. Time for a song featuring Babytron. You know what that means. Time to break down the bars. So the song starts off with Babytron saying Mike Amory master, bitch, I'm fancier than Squilliam. Mike Amory is a very fancy luxury brand that is worn by a lot of rappers. Babytron and Yerbo both wear Mike Amory, so it fitting that they're both on this song. As for the Squilliam part of the bar, Squilliam Fansison is a fictional character from SpongeBob SquarePants. In the show, he's the rival to Squidward. He's much wealthier and successful than him. Not to mention that based on his last name, he's very fancy. He then says that he would rather shoot at someone's head than their body. He then says that he's from Area 51, meaning he's out of this world. Just like in the same way that Wayne calls him a Martian on Forever. He then tells us that he smokes so much that people call him a hippie and how he could have bought a car with the amount of money he had on him. Cars cost about $100 or so. So Babytron could have easily bought one with the money he collected. He also talks about not even bothering with critics, and that includes Anthony Fantano. And then he says that he gets so high that instead of watching the TV, he lets it watch him. And that's it for Babytron's verse. For Yerbo's verse, he talks about his come up and his gang life while spitting some bars like we don't talk to cops, we don't cop please, and I don't fuck with rats cause I got a lot of cheese. The first bar is a double entendre where Yerbo says that he doesn't wanna cop any plea deals, but also that he doesn't want to please the cops. For the second bar, a rat is a common term in rap used for someone who turns on you and has talked to the feds. Rappers usually cut these people off and don't talk to them ever again. And rats like cheese, so Yerbo here is basically saying that he doesn't mess with rats because he got his money up and not his funny up. And that's it for the song. Overall, some pretty neat bars along with a very energetic Swervo verse. Track 12, Hello There, featuring Corbin, Lil Tracy, and Black Cray. Many people called this the best single in the entire rollout, and I can't disagree with that. I mean, you have 3 SoundCloud legends on one song. Of course it's gonna be special. And indeed it was. Corbin starts the song off with a chorus that interpolates Blink-182's I Miss You, and it sounds really good. He then follows this up with the following lyrics. I made the incision. Yeah. Your heart was keeping tally. What once was everlasting, nevermore. In a behind the scenes of the music video, which contains skeletons and a mansion with a dark atmosphere throughout, it is revealed that these are the only lines Corbin got to write for his part, which is why they are so good. Following on the themes of a relationship that went wrong, Lil Tracy, a rapper who worked very closely with the late Lil Peep, expresses feelings of missing this significant other. In his verse, he wonders where she is and states that he never meant to do the things he did to her. In the last 2 lines of his verse, he talks about how he never gave Peep the send-off that he deserved. It then goes back to Corbin where he says that if he dies before she does, then he will haunt her as a ghost. Then Black Cray comes in with his verse where he says that his love with this girl is doing things to him. He then references the fact that doves are very present on his album covers. He then says how he never intended to hurt her. And then that's the song. Overall, it was a really well put together SoundCloud collab. Track 13, Hummingbird, featuring Yumi, So Baby, and Tizo Touchdown. So I'm pretty sure most of my viewers watching this video do not know who the hell Umi is. Well, let me tell you who she is. Umi is an up-and-coming R&B singer who has a beautiful voice. And she definitely showcases that here. She sings about how it's been a while since she has felt 17 and was in love somewhat, but as she got older, she started thinking about love and loss. She then sings about getting a call from this person and how when they come home, she'll tell them all her stories and how she will welcome them in. So Baby then has a verse about how he could spread his wings and leave at any time. Tizo Touchdown then ends the song by comparing himself to a hummingbird and how he's flying through the trees and how he just left the nest. Overall, it's a really nice put together song. Track 14, Stop Giving Me Advice, featuring Jack Harlow and Dave. Now we're gonna talk about the last song on the album, which was the 4th single released for this album. It's a lyrical cut between US rapper Jack Harlow and UK rapper Dave. On this song, Jack Harlow starts it off by asking all these questions, with all of them starting with "Have you ever?" There are some corny lines here and there like "Have you ever been to Italy and eaten Italian?" and "Have you ever been to Montana and seen the mountains?" These bars, to me personally, give off the impression of yeah, no shit to me. Like, you're obviously gonna eat Italian food if you go to Italy, and you're gonna see mountains when you go to Montana. Make it more specific and talk about the landmarks of the country, not just what they're known for. Although Jack probably did this because they would be able to understand it easier. The target audience is teenagers and young adults. Of course they had to dumb it down. He then talks about how these guys give him unnecessary advice and how big he has gotten over the years, with him even getting a collab with Sprite. He then talks about how much work he puts into his craft and why someone like him doesn't even need to be given advice. Then comes Dave's verse where he connects with the listener on a personal level. He starts his verse off by talking about how even though he's this fan's favorite musician, he lives a life that is not as impressive as the life a rapper would usually live. He also states that making music isn't his main job. He then talks about how many rappers can end up losing their life due to situations gone wrong. He then goes on to say that these rappers should start living ordinary lives so that their life doesn't have to be on the line. He then talks about the type of women his fans idolize and how he could never form a strong bond with them considering that they are too accessible for his liking. He then talks about the multiple flights he's been, whether these were tour locations or a special location that he would take his girl to. He then addresses how he never got the chance to marry his ex-girlfriend Besmira and how upset it made him. Playing off of the "I'm in the middle of the vale like a bride-to-be. A vale is also a valley," in reference to the place at the bottom between mountains. After he says that he left a loved one at the bottom of the mountain, he talks about her being afraid to climb it in reference to commitment. She's too afraid to commit to the relationship. To phrase it in a way you would understand, she's too afraid to marry him and start a real relationship. The "have you changed your climate" is in reference to personal growth, meaning you learn from your mistakes. He then talks about this woman that he followed on Instagram who changed her profile from public to private. Since he's the focus of her attention now, she no longer feels the need to share photos of her with other people. He then compares that to switching jets. He originally intended on traveling on a commercial flight in economy class but invited this girl over for a trip on a private jet. He then talks about a court case that he was involved in where he saw his friend get arrested and then went on to catch a case like he did. He then talks about bringing this girl to a sports game while his mum sat in the courtside. She's probably not happy about his mum being there as well. He then compares his mum sitting in court when he faced charges to himself sitting courtside at NBA games. He then asks if it's wrong for him to say that he likes women who have dated a lot of men and is older with her being rich. He then starts the next bar by saying, "Oh Jemima," which was an old term used when someone made a mistake. This could be in reference to him having made mistakes in the past. The next part of the bar is "trips in the park with my oldest rider," either in reference to a friend he's known for a very long time or someone who has been by his side for the longest time. He then talks about testing out his new .9 caliber firearm, like how a football club would usually sign players on loan to test and develop new abilities. This is also in reference to the number in which strikers and forwards would usually wear on the back of their jerseys. An example of this is striker Erling Haaland from Norway. He then goes on to say that he's a lone survivor, meaning that he witnessed multiple friends of his dying alongside losing his brother Christopher after he got 18 years in prison in 2010 after being convicted of manslaughter when he was just 12 years old. He also says that he spells loan like the word loan, aka when someone borrows money, and he states that he doesn't need to take loans due to his high affluence. He also says how most of the girls who have fallen in love with him in the past only wanted him for his money and influence rather than falling in love with him for him. This often leads him being heartbroken in the end. Here he says that he doesn't want to end up in a relationship like that ever again. Despite this though, he says that he's still a feminist at heart, so he'll try again. He then says that he's been around when he says he's on the road again. He then says the following lines: "Death row, you niggas down to your last meal." Death row is where criminals await execution after being convicted of a crime. A component of this is a last meal given to the inmates before the execution begins. Death row is also in reference to Snoop Dogg's label, and The Last Meal is his 5th solo album released in 2000. That is then followed up by "You ever signed a 7-figure deal?" and "The Bird's Quill." In this line, he reveals to us how he signed a 7-figure deal using a bird's quill. The ink in the feather is used to make a pen. He then uses that pen to sign the deal. That is then followed up by "Can't even call it breakfast. 'Cause it wasn't even your first meal." He uses wordplay here to make meal sound like meal. Because it will be their final meal, it obviously can't be called their first. And this is not Dave's first meal, as he already made his first million. He then says that he often forgets other people's birthdays but often remembers his own rap verses. So he'll still be able to say the verse to someone close to him. He then says a bar that's funnier than it should have been: "You ever fucked a supermodel and it sounds like skeletons dancing?" Here he says that the supermodel he's fucking is so thin that you could hear her bones clacking when they fuck. Dave is also skinny, so he uses the plural of skeletons to refer to both him and the supermodel. He then says, "You ever robbed someone and it sounds like asking?" Sometimes when you rob someone, it sounds like you're asking them a question. He then talks about how he didn't have any food growing up because of the struggles occurring in his childhood. His father and older brother were absent, so he had a huge responsibility of taking care of his family. To solve this problem, Dave would usually fast. When you fast, you usually do not have foods or drinks for a certain period of time. People especially do this to celebrate Ramadan, a Muslim holiday where people fast for 29 to 30 days. Then comes the line: "Had drugs, abuse perfumes, trinna masket." Dave states here that he would usually use perfumes to hide the fact that he has weed in his house, as it has a strong smell. He then talks about how he uses music to cope with the bad things that have happened in his life, in which he refers to as the darkness. Him saying life of an artist could also be in reference to him being an escape artist, meaning he could get away from bad situations without anyone knowing about it. This is in reference to his past lifestyle. He then says that the expression on her face explains how she fucked him. Then, as he expressed earlier, these girls only want him for his money and aren't looking to build an actual relationship with him. And then there's this last lyric where Dave says, "And pretty women giving you dances. I come with the pole, but she more Olivier than Francis." The pretty women giving you dances plays into the next line, "Come with the pole," perfectly, as it ties into the themes of a strip club where most of the girls who dance on these poles. Then the "she more Olivier than Francis" is a double entendre. Oliver is an oronym for "all over you" in reference to the dances. This is also in reference to France's all-time goal scorer Olivier Giroud. His last name is also homophonous with she rude. And that's it for the song. Overall, it is a nice way to close off the album with some lyrical substance and something that has meaning. And that's it for the album. Let's get into my final thoughts about the album. While the Lyrical Lemonade album doesn't flow as coherently as an album usually would, it is still an enjoyable album to some extent. Although I do feel like some features on this project were really unnecessary, like Lil Durk on guitar in My Room and Gus Dapperton on Fallout. The features on this project still added a lot to the song. A few examples of this include Denzel Curry on First Night, Lil Yachty on Say Your Grace, Juice WRLD on Doomsday, and Dave on Stop Giving Me Advice. This will be the third 7 out of 10 I have given to an album in a row. So now I'll turn it over to you guys. What did you think of this album? Did it meet your expectations? Did it not? Please let me know. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, whenever that is. Bye.